At 73, Audrey Meadows finally told the truth about Jackie Gleason, the man who had defined so much of her career and yet remained one of its greatest mysteries. Born Audrey Cotter on February 8, 1922, in Wuchang, China, she was the youngest of 5 children raised in a devout and disciplined household. Her family fled political unrest and settled in Massachusetts, where her passion for music, drama, and comedy began to bloom. Determined to make her mark, Audrey started on stage, performing tirelessly in small theater productions before breaking into early television. Her life changed forever when she was cast as Alice Kramden on The Honeymooners, opposite Jackie Gleason. Her portrayal of the sharp-tongued but loving wife became legendary, and she soon became one of the most beloved women on television. But what few people knew was how fiercely Audrey had fought to earn that role. Gleason initially dismissed her as too pretty, but she refused to accept that. She had new photos taken, hair in curlers, no makeup, and wearing a plain housecoat. When Gleason saw them, he finally said, "You've got the job." That bold act of defiance captured the essence of who she was: strong, clever, and unwilling to back down. Though The Honeymooners ran for just 39 episodes between 1955 and 1956, its impact on television was immeasurable. The chemistry between Meadows and Gleason was electric, balancing his explosive humor with her calm wit and quiet strength. Together, they became one of TV's most iconic couples. Beyond the show, Audrey went on to appear in That Girl, The Love Boat, Too Close for Comfort, and many other hits, always bringing intelligence and warmth to every role. Off-screen, she was far ahead of her time, one of the first TV actresses to negotiate residual payments, ensuring she'd earn royalties from reruns for decades. Her business sense made her a quiet pioneer for actors' rights long before it was common practice. In her personal life, Audrey's story was one of grace and reinvention. She married real estate tycoon Randolph Rouse in 1956, but their careers pulled them apart. Later, in 1961, she found lasting happiness with Robert F. Six, the powerful CEO of Continental Airlines. Their marriage spanned 25 years and brought Audrey into a world of travel, elegance, and influence. Despite her Hollywood fame, she remained humble, witty, and grounded, a woman equally at ease in a boardroom as she was on a soundstage. When Robert passed away in 1986, Audrey was heartbroken, calling him the love of her life. By her 70s, Audrey had lived long enough to look back on her extraordinary life and the complicated relationship that defined it. "Jackie was a genius," she said in one of her final interviews. "Unpredictable, temperamental, sometimes impossible, but brilliant." She admitted that working with him wasn't easy. Gleason hated rehearsals and demanded perfection, but Audrey had learned early on to hold her ground. Jackie respected strength, she explained. If you didn't stand up to him, he'd steamroll right over you. Their fights were real, but so was their respect. She recalled moments when Gleason's gruff exterior gave way to surprising tenderness. "He could be so kind," she said softly. Once, after a rough scene, he looked at me and said, "You're the best partner a guy could ask for." Then he walked away before anyone else could hear. Their on-screen chemistry came from that same fire and affection. "The tension you saw between Ralph and Alice was real," she laughed. "But it was never cruel. We just cared too much about getting it right." She credited Gleason for teaching her the deepest truth about comedy, that it comes from pain. That's what made Ralph and Alice believable, she reflected. They struggled, they fought, but they loved each other. Jackie understood that. When asked if she ever resented his ego, she shook her head. Without Jackie, there would be no Honeymooners. And without the Honeymooners, my life would have been something entirely different. Her final words about him were full of emotion. "I miss him," she admitted. Jackie could make you furious one minute and laugh till you cried the next. When he passed, a part of television and a part of me went with him. At 73, Audrey Meadows was no longer the young actress trading barbs on screen. She was a woman of reflection, wisdom, and gratitude. "Jackie and I," she said, "were like Ralph and Alice. We fought, we laughed, we drove each other crazy. But underneath it all, there was love. And that's the truth I finally want people to know." Sadly, just a few years later, Audrey's health began to fail. A lifelong smoker, she was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1995. Refusing aggressive treatment, she faced her illness with quiet dignity and courage. On February 3, 1996, just 5 days shy of her 74th birthday, Audrey Meadows passed away peacefully. Her death marked the end of an era, but her legacy as Alice Kramden, the smart, strong, and loving heart of the Honeymooners, remains timeless. Through her wit, grace, and trailblazing spirit, Audrey Meadows proved that behind every great comedian stood a woman just as brilliant.